podcast is some ratchet shit, baby.
Somebody tried to tell me to be humble, okay?
Bitch, what? But humble gets you nowhere.
It's Demi and Kay. We dropping jewels every day. Come take a listen. This room in my kitchen. We cook with whatever we say. Nah, no little mama. We not telling you what to do. We just want y'all to think a little different, so we delivering the truth. This shit is for proof, man. Let us be the goose, man. Learn from my fuck ups. Get your shit right. Focus on you, man. You a god in your own right. Gotta just rewrite your life. No one has the power to dim your shit. Don't let them bitches fight.
We handling pressure.
We dropping jewels.
We changing hearts.
And we breaking rules.
We schooling life.
Bitches just us two.
We dropping jewels.
Ooh, yeah, we dropping jewels.
Ooh, come and kick it. Cheers up while we speeding. Just to mess, we always blessed. Yeah, baby, we living. Hear this wisdom. These jewels is always giving. The keys to life, cause it's your right. Please don't come up missing, cause when life get hard. Gotta make the move it. Gotta follow your heart. And know your inner jewels. Drop it like it's hot. No, it's life in you. Pressure makes diamonds. Tune in, come get these jewels.
We just want y'all to
Listen.
30 minutes of us tripping. We dropping some jewels, creating less fools. Oh, wow, we
Sipping.
We just want y'all to
Listen.
30 minutes of us tripping. These jewels are for you, cause we learned them, boo. Let's talk about it, what we
Sipping. Ooh.
It's split.
Ooh.
Demi shit. Come on, y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Eloquent evening, guys and goddesses. It's your girl Jay, also known as Jay Demi. And I'm here with the best co-host with the fucking most.
It's your girl K Vex, and I'm here with my gorgeous sis.
And we're here to fuck it up again. And drop maybe one jewel, maybe two, maybe three. I don't know. But y'all gonna get all the jewels that's gonna come with this topic.
Yes, and it's also a sensitive one, so
Ooh.
we are going to put we're just letting you guys know in advance. We're gonna get deep and trigger
sensitive
listening
content.
ears, so.
But today we're gonna talk about mental health and mental illness with a very strict guidance and appropriation towards the Black community. When I say towards the Black community, I say that with kind of a grain of salt. Within my own mental disorders and things that I've realized that I definitely suffer from, whether from a large scale or small scale, right? What I realized that is very common between the two is that they have to be addressed. Once you continue to allow things to spiral
and suppress them.
Right, and you're saying, oh, I don't need that help. Oh, I don't need that thing. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know what. And this is, okay, so this brings me to my very first thing that I do want to kind of dissect and discuss, which is the difference between mental health
and mental illness.
And mental illness / mental disorder, whatever you're comfortable with saying. But I feel like when people say mental health or mental disorder, they use them, especially in the Black community. I can't speak for much other than the Black community. That's all I've been a part of. That's all I really know. In the Black community, we use them very interchangeably.
And very loosely, too.
Yeah. And they shouldn't be either. Because
it's very serious.
Both are very serious. And both should be very thought out before you decide to diagnose or categorize someone.
Right.
And that's what I think is our very important topic for today. So today we're going to talk about, not only today, but next week too, because y'all know how we do. We split these topics up into 1 and 2. The first topic, you're going to get what we think is the meat and fucking potatoes. But in the second topic, you're going to get the jewel. And you gonna get our own personal revelations. And I fuck with that vibe.
Yes.
Clearly y'all do too, because y'all been watching. And if you didn't watch last week,
go back.
We'll be here when you get here. It's the vibe for me.
Yes.
Can we vibe check? Vibe check. Thank you for coming back. And this week, we're taking a spin. We're taking it from being concerned with what the outside may perceive you as, or being concerned with what story your cover may tell, but taking it more on the internal side. We're all humans, and you know, me and Kay both are dealing with our own mental disorders. We are going to be very clear, mental disorders right now, and how we choose to not allow our mental health to deplete.
Yes.
Okay?
That's
So, let's start off with definitions, because I think we need to make sure that it's clear. The differentiator, mental health, right? That's a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. The direct correlation that I think we all need to make is the mental to well-being.
Yeah.
Mental health is being concerned with your well-being, improving your well-being, making sustainable your well-being, making fit your well-being, right?
Is your state of mind and how you are able to not get easily triggered when life does trigger you.
Because life won't happen. No matter where we are, and that's I think my biggest takeaway from today, and I'm probably going to say it multiple times. We are going to go through shit, no matter who you are, no matter where you are in life, no matter, what your financial status is, what your social status is. That's all tangible. Yeah, we could touch it. Yeah, we could see it. It does impact your life. But will it make you not okay or not be able to flourish and survive?
In those same sectors.
Right. But it's the power we give it. And when I say the power we give it, I mean the power we give the disorder. The power we give the illness. The power we give the moment. The power we give the destruction. So when we say mental illness, right? Because y'all know I like I don't like the black and white unless it's black and white. Don't approach me with black and white when the whole situation is gray and fucking fuchsia and green and purple and orange. No. Let's talk about it when we both have decided where the fuck this situation stands, right? And for tonight's topic, it's going to be mental illness, because I think a lot of us say mental health when we mean mental illness. Because a mental illness is something you have to treat, not a mental health.
Correct.
A mental health is how you maintain, how you stay on track, how you work it out, the same way we do our bodies, right?
Self-care. It's a mental self-care.
It's a muscle. The brain is a muscle. And all those things that we think don't matter, like you said, self-care. I feel like the things that we think don't matter fall into that realm of self-care, right? Because we think it don't matter what color our nails are. But it's self-care, especially when you're a man. Maybe you're not using a color. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't use a polish at all, but like clipping your nails, thinking about how low you're filing them, what type of work you do, how it's going to impact your day-to-day that week, whether or not it's going to improve it. I think all of those things has an impact. And what I will say is, from my standpoint, I suffer, and I say it with pride, I suffer from quite a few mental illnesses. And just to name my most highly impacted ones, definitely anxiety, manic depression, depressive bipolar disorder, and every day it's a choice.
But you choose to be.
It is a struggle.
You choose.
But you choose, right. You make the choice on the spectrum that you're going to land in, right?
Yeah.
And I think that for everyone is different. I'm not saying what it wake up every day for me and what it is when I wake up is the same thing it's going to be for you. But what I am going to say is that we do all have choices. And I'm not saying anyone is weak or more powerful based on the choices that they can make, but I think we all should understand we do hold a power, whether or not we're willing to take it. That's on us.
Right.
But I do think the biggest thing that we can, because we can all talk about race and nationality and how that impacts it. We can talk about that shit all day. And I'm not trying to argue whether or not that's the case, because Lord knows I can't, right? But what I can talk about,
That's how I cope with my
for one, not even just me, right? Because this is not about just us.
Right.
We are going to talk about us because us is important. And I do think that how we really handle our struggles mentally, it is important. And we're going to talk about that. And you're going to be let in on that. But before we tear that up, can we tear up the fact that there's a lot of men and women out there not seeking it? Especially in the Black community. I really hate saying Black community because I think people like look at it like, oh, they're talking about a lower class. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about lower class people. I'm talking about the same people that make the same fucking dollar as you, but because of where their origin is, they encounter certain types of people that may be more at distraught. So maybe taking more desperate acts, right? Mm-hmm. How you deal with that? And what's the difference between the way women handle it and men? Because that's different.
Very different.
I can't speak for the white community. I can't. I wish I could. Y'all know. I like to sound really great. I wish I could. But I'm a Black woman. I can only speak from my point. And I could speak from what I may have heard my brothers say. No, you're good.
Or your
what
significant other
right.
go through and visually see it and
live it kind of with them, but from an understudy standpoint. And that's why I'm like, okay, I know I have that kind of take a seat back when it comes from talking about how men experience it. The good thing is we're going to bring y'all some men to talk about their experiences. But mid-season, we're talking about it and our own truth. And from that standpoint, I'm curious, do you think that there's a difference between the way men express their goals as far as mental health and maybe their struggles as far as mental disorder?
Oh, most
and if so, how so?
One, especially in the Black community with men, they aren't really granted spaces where they can talk about triggers and things that they might need help with on a standpoint that's not in like a physical direct form. But I've also noticed a lot of them suppress that because...
Oh my gosh, she's just so good. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
A lot of them suppress that because we are taught in the Black community that you can pray the illness away, or you can go to work and provide...
I can't believe you even just said that. Oh my God.
No, like literally, like let's be for
real. It was
real.
the pray it away from me.
Let's be for real.
Because I hit home.
Let's be for real. Like, a lot of them are told, oh, well, once you get to this income bracket, then this will subside, not letting them know, like, unless you address the issue at hand, like, it doesn't matter what you do to substitute to be able to not be as triggered. Eventually, you are going to be in a place in your journey where you're going to have to confront everything directly and look at yourself in the mirror and be like, I actually need help. And it's, like, hard because other people love you so much that they can see that you're hurting and see that you need help, but they don't know the way that they can help provide that assistance.
But why are we not comfortable asking?
Because we don't want to look at as someone's burden or someone's victim or someone like, oh,
as crippling.
We don't want to use our diagnosis or the way that we're feeling as an excuse to the behaviors that switch, that trigger, that impacts you in a way where you're like, I know I'm not being myself right now, but I just need to express how I am feeling and you not cast judgment on me. And I know a lot of guys that suffer with mental illness, instead of either being extremely aggressive, they'll get really quiet. They'll start to do things that...
Wait, before you finish. I didn't go through the definition of mental illness.
Okay.
And because you said that, I need to.
Okay. A good introduction.
Mental illness, in other words, is triggers. It's how we have maintained when we feel our mental health is lacking. So it's that state in which we resort to, that safe place that we go hide. Mm-hmm. And I think that directly relates to what you were just talking about, which is definitely
Isolation.
Black men's way of responding and isolating, right, from that bullshit. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm sorry. I meant to get back to y'all from the very rib. Mental healthness. I'm sorry. I said mental healthness. Woo! Mental health and mental illness are two very different things. And you know what?
Say the definitions again.
Okay. So I got you. So mental health is a person's condition with regard to their psychological and emotional well-being. Whereas mental illness, which is also called a mental disorder, is a wide range of conditions that affect the mood, thinking, behavior, anxiety. The mood, thinking, and behavior, such as anxiety, bipolar, and depression, which is the most common, but schizophrenia, paranoia, OCD as the more extreme. So, I think
in between Black men's mental health,
the mental illness part and handling the mental. I feel like they all think that they can handle the mental health side and they're doing what's necessary, because when you're talking about your mental health, you're just talking about sustaining and continuing to fuel. Whereas when you're talking about mental disorder or mental illness, it's a problem, right, that you have to fix, something you have to revert, something you have to dive back in.
And it's hard because
and
you don't know.
I'll let you pick that back up because that's where you kind of left off.
It's hard because you don't know when, that switch happens until you're in it. And then once you're in it, it's like, I don't want people to feel sorry for me. I don't want people to think that I'm making an excuse. But unfortunately, this is also who I am, and I have to. I'm trying to maintain it, and I know that I do need help. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, there's nothing that I can provide because my mental health is
lacking.
Is not in its best part, because I do notice that a lot of people that struggle with same disorders, mm-hmm. manic depression, manic anxiety, bipolarism, you continue to we try to keep a schedule because we know that one thing,
we don't want it to appear to everyone else how apparent it is that this problem exists within us.
Very true.
And I'm sorry. Okay, so I guess this is an appropriate time to say I personally suffer from manic depression, explosive depression, severe anxiety disorder. So those are my 3 mental illnesses. Fully diagnosed ones, like a motherfucker trying to put you on some shit, and you're just like, bitch, I don't need that yet. Yes. And what's your? Because the manic depressive is and the anxiety is what we have in common, right?
Yep, manic depression, manic anxiety.
Yo, when
I got diagnosed with bipolarism.
My nurse diagnosed me with manic depression, and I was in high school at the time. And sometimes I would go in there and I was really low and I wasn't okay, and mm-hmm. she couldn't let me walk out. And sometimes I walked in there and I was on 1,000. She couldn't shut me the fuck up, and she was like, "Oh, bitch, you're crazy."
And that's how.
Not like that. She didn't say it like that, and I love her. But she was my person. Yeah. When I was in high school, other than my counselor that ended up becoming really close to me, she was my person. So she was the first person to ever diagnose me, mm-hmm. when no one was even looking at diagnosing any type of mental struggles that I was having, and I was not mad at her. It was so many, and I will say there's plenty of doctors before that tried to, and I was just like, bitch, I'm not that. You don't know me. You don't know me enough to say I'm that. But to me, my school nurse that saw me every week, chatted with me when I didn't want to go to class, and she was listening to me, and when I fucking was acting crazy, and the teacher sent me there. To me, she understood me.
And that's how it was for my dance director that just passed, because
I'm sorry.
No,
but this is a part of it, right?
I would dance.
Mental health.
And
this
it was
is
like
mental health.
I didn't like when I would be at my lowest place.
You want to release?
I would release to the point where like I was harming myself and my body, to the point where like it's like, okay, like yes, that's amazing, but also like you're okay with hurting yourself just to feel something. Like,
wait, stop. So I have to ask for clarity. Don't kick my ass.
Okay.
But coming from a person that has been on the opposite spectrum,
okay,
when you say harming yourself, what does that mean? Okay. Because harming yourself could be harming yourself emotionally, but then it could also be physically taking an effect or an act or an action.
Like in dance, everyone knows like dance is a sport. There's a lot
of people don't know it, but I feel like the people that try to negate that or push back on those, because I think that's why a lot of dancers suffer, because they're constantly belittled as like this like artsy pretty thing. It's not artsy, it's not fucking pretty. And when I saw that, especially ballerinas, can I take a second and just give respect to fucking ballerinas? As much as, like, as a black woman, I feel like, there's so many other types of dance that I think aren't given the regard that they should be given. I have to step back and shut the fuck up and say, well, bitch, ballet is one of them, motherfucker. Because if we have had to smile through fucking anguish in any fucking sport, ballet is fucking one of them. So I'm sorry. I shut my fucking mouth to you dancers now, and this is why I give you guys so much respect. Because seeing the art and the beauty in anything is fucking remarkable.
But you're dancing through a lot of things that you suppress, that
pain. And I would have never thought that.
Share something.
I think y'all hear this beautiful music and y'all want y'all bodies to do certain movements and bring it out, which is, I think, is true. But to the certain extent of the pain y'all have to sacrifice to do that. That's what I, as a non-dancer, can't value.
And it's just like triggering, because it's kind of scary, like only to the extent where there are some movements in dance that like realistically your body you shouldn't be stretching yourself to that limit. And as dance teachers and dance instructors, they'll tell you like, I'm concerned because you're okay with
X, Y, and Z
taking this risky jump or doing this risky trick just to feel something.
Because the onlookers think right, and to the onlookers it's just beauty.
How many risks are you willing to take until you're like
done? Tap out. Can't get up again.
But it's just that feeling that like, for me, I didn't realize how bad my mental illness triggers were until I stopped dancing, because it was harder to cope. Because I used that as a dance, like a coping mechanism for me to maintain my mental health.
But that should be though, because it does that for you.
Yeah.
I think in the Black community, we think that sacrifice and pain and giving up something
equates with strength
for our happiness, right, equates to strength. But I think it personally equates to fucking loss. How much did you fucking have to lose? How many nights of that you might have been able to smile, you didn't, because what you felt in those moments was your deepest pain. Why is it that when we talk about music and we talk about whether you're expressing music through your voice or your body, that it shouldn't have any impact on you while you're giving it, but it's supposed to impact us all so deeply when we're receiving it? No,
it's two sides of the same
fucking
coin.
Takes from the person that created it. And I'm a writer, and I say that very vaguely.
She's a writer.
Because I'm a writer of poetry, though. I'm a writer of poetry. I'm not a writer of scripts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a writer of essay. Yes, I can. But is that what I'm comfortable doing? Maybe not think so much as work or effort. I'm not all those other things.
Mm-hmm.
But if a person was introduced to me with the wrong perception, they may think so. And it's only my job to set them the fuck straight. Like, oh, yeah, no, that's not all I do. I do this and I do this and I do this. And this is why in this event or this project, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to suffice here. And this is what I may do or may not think about doing otherwise. I think that when you're so... Okay. Eat me, okay? All y'all. And because you're going to want to eat me after I say this. It takes so much for me to give something that everyone wants to indulge. For you to want to eat that so abundantly that maybe it's sinful, because that's what indulging is, right? If we're talking about indulging, you want to indulge, grasp, eat, give, taste, feel, all of that so abundantly, right? And be put in that moment. There has to be something healthy in it. And for me, I personally think that the health is in the fruits of the labor in which you're creating. I don't have a love for art. I have a love for, I love colors. I love vibes. I love feelings. I love ignition, right? It's not the same as saying, I look at that picture, it's beautiful. Those are different. Some people may say they're the same, but they are different. And I think for us that have mental disorders, we easily see the difference.
I will agree.
So, bitch, I could live through the same experience that you think is so blissful and artful and moving and emotional and great. And I could say, bitch, that was traumatic as fuck. What the fuck is you talking about? No. Let's be real. As much as I don't want to mention this fucking psycho, I'm going to in this moment because I feel like my culture, my community was turned on to Jeffrey Dahmer. We could sit back. We just had a conversation low-key about it, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to sit back and say, I watched the whole shit start to finish. And you didn't say it, but what I got from you was, bitch, you really couldn't get through episode 3, 4.
One, I didn't have time for it. Like, when I saw the beginning of it, I'm like, a lot of people were like, oh, I can't get through the first episode. No, granted. Yes, it was traumatic, but...
Traumaticies are different for everyone. It was not traumatic for me.
That's what
I think it was sick. I think it was sick.
think it was more psychotic than
right.
It was traumatic.
It was sick as fuck. Because for you to be able to do that, it had to be some sort of craziness like that I can't fathom.
Why?
But for me, it was like, okay, well, tell me more about this sick motherfucker. Because I'm sure his history tells the fucking story. Who the fuck am I to be like, your history don't mean shit over here? No, it does mean something, and I want to understand it. And I think that's the problem in society. Too many of us are rubbing elbows with motherfuckers that we don't give a fuck if you ate today.
Definitely.
I don't give a fuck if you ate today. Who cares? I ate, my bill is paid. I walked into the same restaurant you walked into, except the difference is you about to spend your last $100, and maybe I got 8 or 9, and I don't even give a fuck if it's gonna come to that because I got 7 or 8 people that's willing to spend the same amount of money as me and you. How could we be comfortable going into the same like establishment and enjoying the same luxuries? And most people will say that the person with less money is not logical or is stupid or is risky.
Really
and it's really like, bitch, you crazy as hell. Right. Because, bitch, today I got it. Tomorrow I might not. And, well, I'm going to make sure my water's paid, my lights paid, my car note's paid. I get from work and back the motherfuck the where the fuck I gotta go. My kids gonna have meals on their motherfucking table. But maybe you feel some type of way because instead of having $1,500 in the bank, bitch, I'm going to the Millennium Tour.
Girl, I can't with you.
But we're talking about mental disorder. Very relevant. And I think people should fucking talk more about it. We don't. That's the problem.
I think too, it's just because there are some people on the spectrum that they identify what they have, they understand it, but they use it when they don't want to be held accountable for what they do to maintain their own personal mental health. And when it gets to that point, it gets dangerous because at any moment you can snap and be like, oh, it's because of my bipolar. No, like, what are you doing? Or what community are you building so that those triggers don't have such a heavy impact for everyone around you that might not understand that, unfortunately, my brain snapped today and I don't know what to do to get it to snap back.
I think for this week, the one thing that I want y'all to take away, because we're going to drop the jewel next week, okay? We all know that. We here, right? We all get that. But what I need you to take away from this week is there's levels to everything. Whether it's a mental disability, whether it's a physical disability, whether it's a medical disability, whether it's fucking levels. Like, I can't even say whether anymore. We all have levels that we're at, levels we're trying to get to, and sometimes levels that will bring us back to the realization because we might have missed something, whatever it may be. Whether it's being able to dress what we want to dress, or feel the way we want to feel, or be emotional the way we want to be emotional, or being sexual the way you want to be sexual. Whatever it is, we're figuring out what life is for our generation, because it's different generation to generation, but also what happiness is for us. Stop trying to put people in your fucking box and involve the people that belong in your fucking box, because we all don't belong in your box. But please leave this week understanding. Find out what makes you happy.
You solely, not what your parents want, not what your boyfriend wants, not what society tells you should have. Find what makes you happy to the core, that even if you didn't have anyone around you, you would still be content.
And live that shit.
And live it beautifully. Live it
unapologetically. Ooh! I'm not gonna lie. Omarion made me mad, but I guess I might need to tap into his book, Unbothered, because he is the king of unbothered, motherfucker, unbothered. I'm trying to be like him, because he really do be unbothered. I be bothered a little bit, I too. But I could pretend like I'm not. That's my key. That's my motherfucking trick. Take my trick to the next episode. We gonna tap the fuck back and vibes, energy, love,
peace, and prosperity. See y'all next week.